YouTube, Niner Empire, what is going down? Welcome back to another video. So, pretty interesting stuff. Dan Sileo of Dan Sileo Show tweeted out, the Buccaneers and the 49ers are trying to make a trade work for Jimmy Garoppolo. Interesting. He also tweeted out just 5 minutes ago, word is we will know more next week where Jimmy Garoppolo goes based on the Deshaun Watson ruling. So, Dan Sileo, I believe Sports Illustrated or something like that, or once was Sports Illustrated, whatever. He is saying that the 49ers and the Bucs are engaged in trade talks for Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, this is interesting because the Buccaneers 3 months ago were interested in Jimmy Garoppolo in a potential trade. The Buccaneers made it known that they were interested in a trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. Keep in mind, this was after Tom Brady retired, so the Buccaneers were obviously scrambling to find their next potential quarterback, and it just so happened that they had interest in Jimmy Garoppolo. Basically, Dan Sileo is saying now, current time, the Niners and the Bucs are trying to work on a trade. So this is it's weird because, like I said, back then a couple months ago, the Buccaneers were interested in Jimmy Garoppolo. Now there was obviously never a deal struck. I don't know if they even engaged in trade talks, but the Buccaneers were interested. Now this is interesting on a lot of different levels because, for one, Jimmy Garoppolo, if a trade is in place and if he is traded, he would go back to a Tom Brady team to back up Tom Brady yet again. And the Buccaneers are like a dark horse team that would trade for Jimmy Garoppolo because it really doesn't make sense. They have backup quarterbacks. I believe they have 5 quarterbacks going into next season if Jimmy Garoppolo is traded there. I think guys like Ryan Griffin, Kyle Trask, Blaine Gabbert, those are just some of the names that are on the Bucs roster in the quarterback room right now. But this is interesting because, like I said, I mean, I think with the Buccaneers, they were initially interested at some point in time last season, or during the offseason, not last season, but during this offseason. Tom Brady comes out of retirement. The Buccaneers have their quarterback back. It fills their need. It fills the biggest need that they were going to have if Tom Brady did retire. And now, according to Dan Sileo, they're trying to work out a trade for Jimmy G. Dan Sileo is the only guy that has tweeted on this. He's the only person that has said anything about the Buccaneers being interested in Jimmy Garoppolo, other than a couple months ago when it was pretty much on all media outlets when Tom Brady retired that the Buccaneers could potentially be a team that trades for Jimmy G. So here's my thing. If this is true, I think the Buccaneers would do this move to look towards the future. Because Tom Brady, let's be real, Tom Brady probably is going to play one last season and hang it up after, the season's over, unless he still feels the need to play football. I definitely think if Tom Brady comes back, he already is back, but I definitely think if Tom Brady plays out this next full season, I think he will hang it up then, depending on what happens, if they make the playoffs and whatnot. I think he wants to try to get another Super Bowl before he retires. So, if Tom Brady retires and the Buccaneers trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, the Buccaneers aren't going to have to scramble to find or draft a quarterback when that time comes, right? Because they're going to have Jimmy Garoppolo on the roster. Jimmy Garoppolo's been to a Super Bowl. He's won Super Bowls behind Tom Brady. He's won playoff games and whatnot. It makes sense for the future because the Buccaneers could probably be thinking, look, if we don't trade for Jimmy Garoppolo now and if we don't find a Tom Brady successor now, we could be in a situation where it's going to set us back a couple years. We're going to have to go through the draft, evaluate quarterbacks. It would be really a nightmare for the Buccaneers if they don't have a successor when Tom Brady retires. And they have a pretty decent team, right? But I think with a lot of guys like Chris Godwin being on the franchise tag, Mike Evans, I believe, is going to be due for a contract extension here soon. I don't believe he was extended last season or in this offseason, but if the Buccaneers have Jimmy Garoppolo and Tom Brady retires, I feel like it could keep some of their team intact, right? I mean, I think majority of the team would probably understand that they can still win with Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo, he doesn't do a lot, and he's limited when it comes to his capabilities of being a quarterback, but he wins, and he's won with the 49ers, and I don't know why he wouldn't be able to do it with the Buccaneers. So it's interesting stuff. Now, the Browns are also a team that is going to be right there, I'm sure. I mean, like I said, Dan Sileo also tweeted out 7 minutes ago, word is we will know more next week where Jimmy G goes based on the Deshaun Watson ruling. So if Watson is suspended for a full year, the Browns would instantly become a potential suitor for Jimmy Garoppolo in a trade. The only thing is, if the 49ers trade Jimmy G to the Browns, I think the 49ers are going to have to take on a big portion of Jimmy G's contract in order to make that trade work. The Browns have already going to be taking on some of Baker Mayfield's contract. That was part of the Panthers deal, where basically the Browns are paying some of that Baker Mayfield contract. Panthers are paying the other portion. On top of the Browns doing that, they gave Deshaun Watson one of the largest, I believe it was the largest NFL deal in history. Fully guaranteed, over $230 million deal. So that's a lot of money for Cleveland, right? So the only really way, in my opinion, it would work for Jimmy G going to Cleveland would be if the 49ers pay a massive portion of Jimmy G's contract for next season. Like I said, Jimmy G is due $27 million for next season. That's a lot of money, especially for a team that just spent a shitload of money on a franchise quarterback, traded away their first-round pick in 2018, Baker Mayfield, had to take on a portion of that contract. That's a lot of money involved for the Cleveland Browns. So with the Buccaneers, they could be, like I said, looking towards the future. When Tom Brady retires, we'll have Jimmy G, and, that should work out. So who knows if this is true, like I said, and I'm not, saying this is true, but it's just entertaining to talk about, obviously. Dan Sileo reports, like I said, Bucs, Niners working on a trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. We will see how true this is in the coming weeks. But obviously, Dan Sileo has been right about some stuff, but he's also been wrong. So we all have to keep that in mind. But like I said, why not talk about it? It's entertaining.